There we go. There we go. Now we're unmuted. Right away, right back into it again. Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday, and welcome back to Touchdown Talk with myself, Chris, and I am joined by my man, the commish. I am your father, Pablo Martinez. How are you, sir?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you, Chris. How are you today? I'm doing excellent. Happy to be back. The
Yeah,
Touchdown
happy to be
Talk
back.
is live and well.
That's right. We are back, baby. Right here live on Radio Garden State, of course, radiogardenstate.com, Odyssey app, TuneIn app, or radio.net app. Anytime, 24/7, we are broadcasting out here on the station. We're back here Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., bringing you some fantasy football sports talk. We are super excited to be back here. Of course, you can also watch us live. For the video audience, you can see us on Facebook, you can see us on YouTube, and over on Radio Garden State Facebook, my own personal Facebook, and YouTube as well. So as we go along, feel free to chime in, leave some comments in the chat if you got any questions about fantasy football, your upcoming draft. We have drafts coming up, who you're debating picking, maybe you're debating who your keeper should be if you're in that kind of a league. Whatever it is, throw it in the chat, and Pablo and I will be happy to answer it. And yeah, we are pumped to be back for another season of fantasy football. We had some wild action for anybody that followed us last year when we were doing the show here. We finished our league, and I don't know if we came back on. I don't think we did a final show where we talked about our champs of our two leagues. So we do have two leagues that Pablo and I are both in together. One is called the League of Extraordinarily Mediocre Peoples, LOEMP, and the Dirt League. Both of which, Pablo, you are commissioner of now. Are you full commissioner of both leagues or half commissioner? Like, what's the deal with it now?
Your brother and I were commissioning. He was the commissioner, but I was co-commissioner of the LOEMP League. This year, we're gonna flop roles. So I'm sitting in the commission seat of the LOEMP League as well as the Dirt League. In the Dirt League, I got our dear friend John, Mr. Moose Knuckles, also co-commissioning there. So yeah, we're behind the button clicks on setting things up, putting some draft dates and draft times together. Tiny little bit behind this season with a little bit of that cleanup work, but things are moving well. Today is August 16th. We've got 2 weeks before September begins, and can't wait for football to start, man. Can't wait.
I know. It seems like forever. It's that we've, had fantasy football and NFL action. And it's always exciting. There's something very intoxicating about NFL, and especially when you play fantasy football, it makes the game so much more exciting to watch. Now, big change this year too. It seems like Red Zone, is that happening this year? Is Red Zone going to ESPN this year, or is that is that next year thing?
I could be wrong, but I thought it was happening this year.
Okay, just in time.
I did hear about this change, and that's a nice little addition.
Yeah, it's a nice addition. I mean, I'm not a fan of ESPN's coverage of football or especially hockey. It's pretty horrible. So hopefully they are not changing Red Zone at all. It's just the way Red Zone works is perfect. Change nothing. It's the best to watch, especially if your team, your team isn't playing at that time. Like for me, if the Giants aren't on, then watching Red Zone's great. And especially if I'm watching the Giants get blown out, then Red Zone's also great because you can keep up on all the other games and see what's happening and track your fantasy. It's nice. I love watching Red Zone. So I'm excited for that to come back. That whole 8 hours of commercial-free football action.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do think it starts this season, so that'll be very interesting to watch. We've had a chance to watch a couple of snaps here and there that were relevant in preseason.
Yeah.
But, can't wait for week one to roll in.
Yeah, I'll be at the preseason Giants Jets preseason game today. I'm excited. It'll be fun. Preseason football can be fun, especially you're still tailgating, still doing all the stuff. So, hey, if anybody's going to be out there, come to Pole J14. That's where we'll be hanging out in the parking lot. So come by, say hello, grab a hot dog, a burger, a beer, whatever. Come say hello. I'll have some Radio Garden State stickers with me. So grab a Radio Garden State sticker if you want to come by. So, all right, Pablo, we got we got a lot of good fantasy talk all ready to go. Keep the show going. So I want to set the stage for anybody that's listening new to the show. We are back. We had a very long break because there was just no fantasy football going on. So usually we end the show when fantasy football season ends, and then we're back on. So we decide we're going to start a little bit earlier because we got drafts coming up, and there's still a lot to talk about, even though fantasy football hasn't officially started yet. But fantasy football prep is very much in swing. Most leagues are gonna start drafting within the next 2 weeks or so, especially after Labor Day. It gets very exciting for draft. We're drafting. The League of Extraordinarily Mediocre People, LOEMP League, is drafting next Saturday, which will be fun. And then the Dirt League, I think, is going to draft on the Tuesday after Labor Day, right? That's what we're targeting, September 2nd, I think.
That is correct.
Right. So a lot of work still to be done, a lot of prep work, but I just want to set the stage. Can you fill everybody in about how both leagues are set up? So that way, if people are tracking and follow along, they know how each league is set up, because each league kind of has some different setups, I believe.
Absolutely. All right. So we'll kick off with the LOEMP League. Our LOEMP League is a keeper league that is a 12-team league. We allow one keeper in the league from the season prior. And this is a full PPR league that starts 3 wideouts, 2 running backs, 1 flex, and 1 super flex position. Right. So lots of teams start 2 quarterbacks here. Very interesting dynamics. We do not have kickers. We do start a defense. So that's the setup for our 12-team LOEMP league, which is a lot of fun.
I like the no kick. I like the no kickers on that league. I got to be honest with you. I know Tina, who's in the league, she's not a big fan of the no kickers thing, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the no kickers on that league.
I do too, a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting.
So our champ from last year, Obi-Wan Mahomey, Wayne, congrats on the 2024 championship.
Congrats, man.
Came out on top on the Fantasy Super Bowl for the LOEMP League, and will now be hosting the draft party next Saturday. So thank you, Wayne. Shout out to him for putting that together.
Big draft party next week at Wayne. So yeah, thank you for hosting that. Thanks for putting that together, and congrats on winning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a really fun season. There was a lot of nuts. For anybody that followed along and followed the show, there was a lot of movement. A lot of good trade frenzy going on near the end of that too. A lot of good trades, and unfortunately, some teams that started off red hot did not wind up finishing due to injuries and all kinds of other nutso NFL stuff. Yeah, Tina coming in with "I miss my kickers." Well, Tina, it's good that you're in the other league because that other league has kickers.
Absolutely, yeah. See, we have a little bit for everybody.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, yeah, we're going into year 5 of the LOEMP League, and it should be fantastic. We have everybody returning for another year, so no turnover on managers, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to that one big time.
So the details on the Dirt League. Our Dirt League is a 12-team half PPR league that starts 2 wideouts, 2 running backs, a tight end. I missed mentioning the tight end in the other league, but of course we start a tight end.
Right.
1 flex and a super flex. In this league, we do have kickers, so we have kickers for those kickers fans. We start a team defense, and we also have an IDP lineup that we start up in individual defensive players. We start 1 linebacker, 1 defensive lineman, 1 defensive back, and 1 flex IDP player. So that would be the full lineup for this half PPR league, which is also a 12-team league. No keepers in this league at this time, but that's, rule changes are always welcome. We've talked a little bit about rule changes. We haven't really implemented too many this season, but there's still time before kickoff. So, if our league mates out there or anyone out there in any of your leagues want to propose rule changes, now's the time before the ball starts flying through the air, before that first snap. Let's discuss whatever changes that we think we might want to implement for this 2025 season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, rule changes are always, it's something that always comes up for sure in many, many leagues. And, I think that for a lot of leagues too, especially with your commissioner and stuff. I mean, listen, I think rule changes, they need, it's a community thing, right? And so, the commissioner's there to keep everything in order, keep things moving. But at the end of the day, hey, we're all playing. And, if you have a rule change that you want to propose and everybody is kind of, at least the majority is in alignment with it, then, make the rule change. I mean, everybody's, if everybody, or like I said, the majority's okay and the commissioner signs off on it, then make the rule change, and it makes things fun and interesting too. As long as everybody, I think when you rule with an iron fist and you're just like, we're doing this, and not everybody, and the majority's not on board with it, then it can be a bit of a bummer. So, I don't know, how other people out there run their leagues, if they're commissioning and, they kind of rule things with an iron fist, but I would say loosen up, lighten up, make it a little more democratic, I would say.
I agree with you on that. I think that the best flow, from what I've seen, I've had the chance to play in multiple other leagues and observe some great commissioners and how they handle stuff like this. And I think that at the end of the day, this is everybody's league. We're all playing this game together.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to see something different, speak up. We could talk about it. You might be surprised how many people might like it, and it's a rule change that happens.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so, in the champ of the dirt, we had Sharkbait, who is the champion of Dirt League this year, who, basically came out of the basement.
Yes, Sharkbait. Shout out to Sharkbait. Sorry, I dropped the ball on that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I want to make sure that, we give his props.
For sure. Our 2024 Dirt League fantasy champion, Dan, came triumphant again, added his second title in this league. This is a league that's been going on for a little bit longer. I want to say it's been 15 seasons. This might be 15. This might be year 15 or 16. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I came in a little bit. I mean, I've been in it for a little bit, but I wasn't in from the very, very beginning of this league. I think I came in like year 3, maybe, or 4. I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't catch year 1 either, but you and I have been in this for quite a bit.
Right.
And, the league's also pretty steady. I think it's like this is 6 years in a row that everybody returns.
Yeah,
so we got a pretty rock solid core of fantasy football managers. And Dan Sharkbait came out with the championship last year, so congrats to him. And one particularity of both of our leagues, both champs were 6th seed.
Yes,
in the standing. And that was something that in the Dirt League, for example, I like to keep track of those stats. That had never happened. John, I know he brought that to my attention. Moose Knuckles also is a big stats fan. A 6th seed had never won our championship in the Dirt League, and that happened.
I mean, Bodie McBoatface, Pam's team, was 12-2 on the season and wound up finishing 3rd. And Sharkbait, who is 7-7, like you said, 6th seed, won the league. And then also, I believe Wayne's team, if we go back to just to go back to LOEMP League, I mean, he was 7-7.
Yeah, also the 6th seed.
Also a 6th seed who wound up winning it all.
I came in
3rd place, by the way. I just want to say, and you came in 2nd place in the dirt.
Yep. I lost that Super Bowl again, so that was a little painful, but still a lot of fun. But those 6 seeds came in hot at the end of the year. That's what matters. That's what counts. That's what's important.
I mean, we talk about that all season long, right? Just because you start your season maybe in the basement, there's still, there's a point when, a point of no return, right? But if say you even lose 7 games, you can still win 7 games and still win a championship. Proof and point. I mean, two 6-seed teams squeaked in to the playoffs and then won it all. So don't get down on yourself, guys, as the season goes on. Believe me, we all do it. We all, oh my God, my season's over, this and that. But little hot streak, little luck, make a right move, get a good trade going. Pick up somebody who now, fell into a spot, one of the rookies, maybe you pick a sleeper hit. I mean, all these things, like there's so many variables that can happen throughout an NFL season that can change your fortune like that. And so, as we always say, never give up, never surrender, keep playing to the very end. And especially if you're in a league where, there's a last place award, such as the Dirt League, you get the poop trophy. You don't want to be the owner of the poop trophy. So at that point, you're playing not to finish in last place because, who wants to have to display a poop trophy for everybody to see? And unfortunately, show me your TDs won the poop trophy this year.
Mr. Chris Carr. Yeah,
Mr. Chris Carr.
he's the proud owner of the 2024 season, displaying it throughout the 2025 year. Poop trophy once again. We'll get a picture up on the screen of that
Actually,
sometime soon.
oh, there it is. Well, that's an old picture. This isn't his, but I have this picture up.
Yeah,
That's an older
yeah.
from last year's, 2 years ago. But it's that. It's a little poop turd on top of a little dirt thing. So, for those of you not watching, that's what it looks like. It literally looks like a giant turd on a pedestal.
Accurate description.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, all right. So, listen, we got a lot going on. So that was last season, and of course, guys, we are on. If you are watching this live or listening, and if you want to follow along, we do use Yahoo Fantasy for both leagues, and we do make them public. So, if whatever you want to follow along with our leagues, our teams, all the things we talk about here, just go right on Yahoo Fantasy, search them up, LOEMP and Dirt League, and you could follow in. Of course, we'll be doing the show here weekly. And the whole point is that what we do is we talk about our leagues, but through that, we're talking about players, we're talking about trades, we're keeping things up to date, we're looking player reports, we answer a lot of questions. People from our league chime in and ask questions. And so if you are listening in or watching and you have a fantasy question, please throw it in the chat and we will get to it for sure. We'll give you our best advice on that. Right now, everybody involved in fantasy football is preparing for the draft. Your draft is coming up. Lots of things. I don't know how everybody out there drafts. I'm going to admit something. I don't over prepare for the draft. I just don't. I honestly, I almost wait. Like next week will be the week that I start like being and paying attention, and I start making notes on I use my phone, and as I hear and see things, I just drop names on there, and so then that way I have it when I'm up and drafting for my teams. But I don't over prepare and over analyze. I don't know. I'm not one of those guys. Maybe that's why I haven't been champ in a while, but whatever. Pablo, how do you normally prepare for a draft?
So let me tell you, I think that what your style that you commented on, I think that's actually a very, very helpful style, because I've found in previous years that due to the fact that I like fantasy football so much and I like to get in on it early.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I over prepare, but I look at some of these names so many times, I go back and forth. So
Right.
when it comes to draft time, there's a little bit of cloudiness in my mind and a little bit of
Yeah.
confusion. Coming in with a clean slate like that, where you're a little bit fresh and you're just keeping up on what happened during the preseason in those last few games, is sometimes the best way to go. Looking at those depth charts for each team as the preseason continues to roll in is very important. Today we'll be talking about a few roster changes in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
some players that have been acquired by new teams. We have a lot of rookies as well to talk about. I'm a big fan of rookie players, to see what value we might be finding during our draft, what team might have added a great running back that we're excited
Right.
to see, what they can do. So I think that in terms of prep for the draft, just making sure that you're on top of the latest news and in terms of depth charts, and making sure who's slated to be a starter here, and who's on a new team.
Right.
All that information I think is key and important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, staying up to date on that stuff is because that way, because you only have so much time on the clock, and and depending on who's drafted, that's the one thing of like who drafted who, because you always got to be like, oh, that's the guy I want. It's always the guy I wanted, and I'm like, oh my god, and then you gotta like who's next, and that's the stuff like when you're in it, you get like you're on the clock and you gotta go. So it's always nice to have those standbys and those other names and be aware of what's going on. Tina's coming in saying, I take notes on a legal pad from online reports like a week before, then a couple nights before the draft. So thanks, Tina, for sharing that. Yeah, guys, let us know, how do you draft? Leave it in the comments, and even after this is done, because it'll be on Facebook and YouTube, let us know. Stick them in there, because we'll see them and we'll read them, and everybody else who comes in. We'd love to see how you guys are drafting. So in the LOEMP league, we have keepers. We have a keeper league. I know exactly who I'm keeping.
Fantastic.
At this
I
point,
did want to bring that
I
up
picked it
today.
is it
Tomorrow
not?
is the last day,
Yeah, the
or is it
19th, I
today?
think it was. Yeah. Oh no, not the 19th. Maybe it is the
The
17th. So
17th. The
we're
17th.
like all over the place. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have so many dates but yeah, I think tomorrow is the
it's
deadline
tomorrow.
for.
Tomorrow's the deadline to
Yeah.
submit your keepers in the LOEMP league. So that's perfect. If you already know, and for those of us in that league, if we still have second thoughts, there's time till tomorrow to change your submission if that's what you want to do. Tomorrow is the deadline. But since you brought it up, Chris, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what your thoughts are on who your keeper is going to be for this year.
Yeah, so my keeper for this year, because I've had for the last 2 years, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been my keeper. And when I drafted him originally, I believe I think it was like deep, like sixth, seventh. It was not in the first 3 rounds, because at that time I had picked him up because the year before that I had gotten him, I think, on waivers or something like that. He was on a waiver wire and he still hadn't like hit yet, and I picked him up because I started to see some heat on him, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's great. And so I drafted him the next season, and I had him as my keeper for 2 years. But in our league, after you've had a keeper for 2 years, you gotta give him up, so he's back in the pool. So I looked at my roster and I decided that the keeper that I'm going to have for this year, even though it would mean me kind of missing out on round one, but I feel like that it's a good choice, is Jamar Chase. I have him, and he's going to be my keeper for this year because, listen, if I was going in round one and he was available, I would have picked him up anyway. And I believe I'm drafting, I think I'm drafting I would have drafted in seventh or sixth pick, something like that, because we had quick sidebars. We had John Gruden do our draft picks this year through the LOMP league. We did cameo, and we had him do the picks, which was great. It was fun, and it was actually a lot of behind the scenes drama with that. But it was very fun to do, and it was fun to see it. But I think I was picking like later, so that at a 6, I think 7. I once again, being a little bit like more mid. There's no way a Jamar Chase is going to be available that late. Like, he's going pretty much like number one overall. For me, it just I'm hanging on to him. And I think he's gonna have a big year anyway because he's been great. So that was my rationale. I know some other people give me some other advice, but I'm sticking with Jamar Chase. He's my keeper.
Listen, anyone out there keeping Jamar Chase, you're doing it right. That's it. A guy
Yeah.
who can win you the week by himself. He put up, I think, I was trying to look it up now. I think there was more than 1 week last season where he put up like 40 points, 50 points. Like, I forget
Yeah,
exactly what
he
it
went
was.
off.
Yeah.
He had a game where he went off, and Burrow is these guys they're going to be on a revenge tear. I mean, the fact that it was funny watching. Well, not funny. It was just nice that, like, I watched Quarterback on Netflix, and they felt Burrow was one of the quarterbacks they followed, and he started off like shaky, but man, even though they didn't make it in, like, they hit between him and Chase, they were putting him ginormous points and still losing games because their defense was terrible. But like, it was unbelievable the shootouts that team was having, and Chase and Burrow having huge games. So watching that again made me really feel good about my choice. I'm like, man, if we get that again this year and everybody stays healthy, fingers crossed, that could be big. It'll be a big piece of my team. So yeah, I decided to go with Jamar Chase. I mean, right now, if you're looking at any of the websites and stuff, I mean, Jamar Chase, number one, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and Jamar Gibbs are your top 6 picks going. And I think if I was drafting at 7, I think is where I'm at. Once again, I got to recheck it. None of those guys are going to be on the board at all. But I mean, the next pick isn't bad. But like, once again, Jamar Chase, I've got him on my team. He's my keeper.
For sure. Yeah, this is a super flex league, so I'm sure there's going to be a quarterback going in round one here and there.
Yeah.
I think on my end, I'm leaning more towards quarterback. I did not have a great team at the end of the season, unfortunately. So I'm looking at my roster from last year. My options are not fantastic, but I did have Jalen Hurts, and in a super flex league,
Yeah.
I think that keeping, making sure I get to keep. I think you and I are back to back in the draft. I got sixth pick, and you got 7th.
Okay,
So
there you go. Yeah.
6 overall to keep Jalen Hurts as yeah, it is my first round pick. However, I think it's a safe bet that he's going to have a very, very good season again.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way I'm leaning for my keeper towards the deadline tomorrow.
And you had a nice stream too, because I mean, you had AJ Brown on your team as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I am a big fan of that. I think that there are many, many times where that works out so well, where you get that touchdown to count twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another little trick that it's not foolproof and not everybody loves it, but I am a big fan of trying to get that quarterback combo with either one of the running backs or the wide receiver or even the tight end.
Yeah.
Sometimes that Brock Purdy, George Kittle stack worked very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, I think with that then, so obviously that wraps up my first round pick, and then because normally, I don't get normally how I've been drafting in the last couple years. I've been going wide receiver, running back, and then I've been going QB. But I have switched it up a bit to be maybe depending on in this league though, because we have super flex. I have taken QBs I think a little bit earlier, and maybe going like running back then QB. So taking a QB in round 4. If I start to see them, because there's gonna be a lot of really good QBs up there. I mean, my brother last year, what a freaking pick! He was drafted up. He almost forgot to take a quarterback, and then who does he get as a quarterback? That he's like, oh, forget it. He just at a whim takes the kid, and almost turns out to become like MVP of the entire league. I think.
Bo Nix.
Bo
Yeah.
Nix late. Like, what did he like round 13 or something? It was crazy.
That was fantastic. Yeah, those are the picks that
What a
really set
pick.
you apart from the rest of the league because you're able to find that true value so late in the draft. It's
Yeah.
not easy to do, but yeah, good for you, Kevin. You definitely picked a good one last year.
Yeah, and it's funny too seeing a lot of the overall picks and stuff like that. I mean, right now, I mean when you look at the overall picks, it's like, everybody's, wide receiver, running back, all that stuff, and you really don't start getting into until round 4 is when you start seeing a lot of these tight ends show up and QBs and stuff like that. So, according to projections on QB, round 4, you're seeing like, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Now, there's no way in our, I don't know, does somebody have Lamar Jackson in our league and they're keeping him? I mean, if you have Lamar Jackson, you got to keep him. I mean, why would you give up a Lamar Jackson if you already
Yeah.
have him in our league?
Wayne already expressed his keeper, and I'm sure he's not going to change his mind. He had Lamar Jackson in round 2 last season, so he's giving up a second round pick this year for Lamar Jackson, which he could be easily the MVP of the year,
Very
and
much.
he would go in round 1 anyway. So getting
Yeah.
him in round 2 is great value for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ken Ventry coming in with Kevin V's team was stacked yet again. Bro knows what he's doing. Yeah, my brother knows what he's doing.
He does his research
He
for
does
sure.
he does his research. He does
Yes,
his research. Yeah, he's one of those guys that definitely crunches. He does the crunch.
absolutely.
So with that, so how do you, you don't have to give up your whole secret sauce there, Pablo, but I mean, how do you normally, like, what has been your trends for like when you go in your first, like, your first few rounds? Like, do you sort of flow it or do you go in with a really good plan of like, I'm going to go, I mean, obviously we're in super flex, so, getting a QB earlier in these leagues is probably a good idea if someone's on the board and you're like, all right, I got enough key components early. I'm going to scoop up a QB fast. I mean, what are you feeling about that? Like, what do you normally do?
So I think there's no one way to do it. There are definitely many different approaches, and they all are able to work well. I think for me personally, over the years, what I found that I like most is to try to keep a very, very open mind and stay very, very flexible with what's happening during the draft.
Right.
For instance, if I choose to go with a quarterback in round 1, or and then in round 2 I get a wide receiver, I don't necessarily want to feel tied to
Right.
have to feel like I need to draft a running back in round 3 just because I don't want to wait. Sometimes you get such great value on players that are dropping that taking another wide receiver at round 3, even though you don't have a running back yet, can be very, very important. So I think the most important uh, thing that I try to keep in mind, at least personally, is to try to make sure you are very flexible and don't come in with a rigid plan that you feel like you need to follow. Because then sometimes you find yourself reaching for a player that comes down much lower in the ADP ranks,
Hmm.
just because you think that you need him on your roster. It'll be a long season. The end of the season roster that you have will likely look very different from the
Right.
initial roster that you drafted.
Oh my
So
gosh, yeah, that's for sure.
taking the best player that you can find each time that it's your turn, for me, is the best approach. I know it's kind of like a very, very loose strategy, but still, I
Yeah,
think
but
it's
still,
important to stay fluid and flexible.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, take the best person available, right? When you're building your team. I mean, it really is that simple. And yeah, it's so crazy what happens. I mean, especially I feel like the last few years, we're seeing so many more of the go-to starters go down and out and early. Lots of injuries, lots more injuries happening, especially, quarterbacks going down, running backs, getting hurt a lot. I mean, a lot of these key guys getting hurt. Some even before the season starts, like in practice, some guys are finished before it even happens. So I feel like we're getting more and more of that. And so, really, I think having a backup plan to a backup plan very quickly is a way to go. But that's the thing. If who's the best available, who's on the board right now that's best available, get them. Because that also too is like speaks to like we talk about is trading, right? You can
Absolutely.
always make a trade. Leagues that like guys trade. Think about trades. Like you can pick someone up who's good, but maybe you could trade that because somebody's may need that person, and then you could fill in some really key spots that maybe you didn't do so great in a draft. You're feeling a little weak in as the season goes on. So, trading is a big. It makes it fun. First of all, I like trading. It's fun, and it's always fun when somebody tries to give you a garbage trade, and you're like, come on with that. But, sometimes you just gotta try because you never know how desperate someone is at a time. But I mean, good trades are fun, especially, like some of those bigger blockbuster trades. But, it fills a need, right? Somebody needs a really good running back or needs a QB1 because their guy is gone, for whatever reason. And now, maybe you've got 3 stud wide receivers on your team. Do you really need all 3? Or maybe you got that extra running back that, like, these are the things. It's like that makes trading like so great, especially when you get near the end. Like we had a nice trading frenzy, like right, almost like was it the last day of trading? There was a
The
lot of
deadline.
weird. There was a lot of trades going on.
Yeah, I think that, so that's another great aspect to bring up, trades. I in many leagues that I've played in the past, I've seen, different approaches towards trades. Some people love to trade, some people
Yeah,
trade way too much, in my opinion, like all the time. And in
it's
some leagues, you never see a trade happen.
I
And
know.
I think that in those leagues that people are losing out. I definitely encourage everybody to go out there, try to make as many trades as you can in terms of trying to improve your team and the team that you're trading with. If you can find a good trade partner, at least throw the proposal out there. And if it gets rejected, it's okay. But you
Right.
can continue to try, and you'd be surprised at how many improvements you can make for your team.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about before. I mean, look at once again who won the championships in both leagues. Two teams that were 7-7 in the 6 seeds squeaked in, got in, and won. And trades were made at some point to make those teams better. Certain things happen, and so that's the thing. Like even if you're like you find yourself on a bit of a losing streak, like definitely switch things up, make a trade, get something going. I mean, chances are you probably have someone on your team that's valuable to somebody else who's trying to make a run. And this is a very easy way to improve your team. And you're like, oh, there's no one on the waiver wire. There's no one on your waiver wire. Well, look at what everybody's got on the league and make an offer. If the worst they're gonna say is no, like they're gonna
Right.
reject it. But
Yeah.
that's it. But I mean, this is why you got to pay attention to during your season because injuries rack up, man, and somebody goes down, and now you got a key piece, and they have a key piece or two that would help your team. They're probably gonna bite on that trade because they're making a run. They're feeling some heat now, so they want to keep the streak going. So people will be more open to having that discussion when they maybe would be earlier. But the deeper you go into the season, the more people are like, maybe this trade isn't a bad idea.
Right? I mean, at some point, you got to call your shot. If you think you're not going to make the playoffs, or if you think you're going to barely make the playoffs, and then your team is going to fizzle out, you got to make a bet. You got to maybe flip a player that's
Yeah.
valuable, but maybe you get two assets from that that could be more valuable than that one player that you had. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. So real quick, guys, before we get on, I just want to call attention real quick to one of our sponsors here on Radio Garden State, one of our great partners that we've been partnering with so far all year. We love them. SavvySeats.com, guys. They have tickets to everything. NFL, NHL, MLB, upcoming World Cup games. They have tickets for everything, concerts, Broadway plays, all that stuff. They've got great tailgate packages before concerts, before all kinds of games. Even today, preseason game, Giants, Jets, Jets, Giants. They've got a preseason package and a great tailgate package. So head over to SavvySeats.com, and when you use the code RGS10 at checkout, you're going to get $10 off your order. So wonderful partner. We love working with them, and we're really happy to have them as part of Radio Garden State's list of great partnerships. So SavvySeats.com, check them out, see what they got available. Even upcoming Oasis shows that sold out, they got tickets. See Here Now down at Asbury Park, they've got tickets. So check it out. Great broker, very reliable. SavvySeats.com. Use code RGS10 at checkout for $10 off your order. And let's get back into it. So let's transition here a little bit, Pablo. We've been talking a lot about our leagues, different things like this, trades, recapping a little bit. Draft is coming up, as we've been talking about. Many people have got the other drafts happening. They're preparing. Obviously, the one thing that everybody loves is finding that diamond, that gem. You take a chance on somebody, like a Bo Nix. Like, God, who would have thought that would have happened? But my brother picked him up basically because he was like, oh, no, I forgot to take a quarterback. He picks him up, guy goes off. But, I mean, let's talk about those sleeper hits, right? And also, like, is there anybody out there now that you're sort of like seeing maybe a lot of chatter about? I did put in a ChatGPT to see like what ChatGPT, which, you know, basically crawls the internet, by the way. It just crawls the internet and puts everything together. So actually put together a list of some sleeper targets that
All
I kind of compiled. But I would like to go through this list with you and get your reaction and see if you agree or disagree.
Sure thing. Let's hear it.
How's that sound? Because I
I think
know
it's
you're
fantastic.
a little in the know. You're in the know. You know more than me, that's for sure.
I
And
try to do some research like your
you,
brother.
yeah, you do. And for anybody else listening, or if you're watching, feel free to comment in on these as well. And if you have a pick that you feel like everybody should be on people's radars to watch, throw it in, because Pablo and I would like to know. All right, so here's according, once again, ChatGPT, and they kind of broke this down. So here was, they broke this down at expert backed sleepers. So this says a consensus of fantasy experts highlights these upside runners. These are all running backs currently drafted outside the top 45 overall.
Okay.
So my prompt was, who are the top fantasy football sleeper picks for 2025? Very simple prompt. So here's, and I don't know if this is listed in, it's just listing it. So I don't know if this is a top whatever, but there's a list. So first name on here, J.K. Robbins, now playing with Denver.
All right. So Dobbins
Returning from
had
returning from an injury.
yes, he had that's what I was trying to think back at. He had a pretty significant injury. I think he tore his Achilles,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he had a really rough time coming back from that, but he looked healthy last year, and to my surprise, he actually had a decent season. So he's slated to be one of the sleeper picks for the 2025 season, and I think I can definitely see where that might come to happen, because me personally, I'm very interested and intrigued in the running back room in Denver this season. I think that the rookie that they added is also a guy I want to keep my eye on, because I think that the running game for Denver this season is going to be valuable. So I can definitely see how, despite the injury concerns for Dobbins, he might be a sleeper pick, because absolutely, if he has a good season, he will not go early in the draft. So that would be a huge value if somebody can scoop him up and he does end up panning out.
All right. Very good. I like that. Yeah, I mean, definitely JK, you know, he's a name that's been in the NFL, people, you know, and he looked good up until, you know, his injury. So, And it is interesting to see what Denver's going to do. I mean, obviously having this strong deep offense, and even their defense was really something last year. So Denver's a team, man. They definitely should be on everybody's watch radar. Team to watch for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I think they'll definitely give the division a nice run for their money. I don't think it's going to be just set it and forget it that the Chiefs are going to win this year. I really think that Denver is going to bring it all in.
So, keeping up with some running back names here, another name that's come up here, rookie, Bayshaw Tootin with Jacksonville. They're saying rookie with elite elusiveness and upside on a team on the rise, according to ChatGPT. But that's a name on here.
For sure. Yeah, that rookie will be interesting. I think, in my opinion, the Jacksonville running room, the depth chart there is going to be really, really hard to decipher. You've got Travis Etienne on that team who didn't have the most fantastic season. You also have Tank Bigsby, who last year proved to be that sleeper pick, that player that we've scooped up later in the draft and actually ended up having more value because Travis Etienne wasn't really keeping up with the expectations that everybody had for him.
Yeah.
So I can totally see how this new rookie, Bayshaw Tootin, would be considered a good option for a sleeper pick because I think that running back room is anyone's guess, really. At the end of the day, I think that's really what it comes from. There is a chance Tootin can be the guy, probably not week one, but because there isn't really a solid, for sure starter in that team, from my perspective, I definitely see a world where Tootin can come out after a few weeks and just own it and just take it for him.
I mean, and running backs are always, it's one of those things, right? They're so sort of hit or miss a lot of times, depending on, there's a lot of offensive line and how they get used, how they get mixed into the offense. You really got to watch that. Like when, are they like mostly a third down back? Are they a back that they'll use on a passing, short pass because they got good hands? All these things, and then, and we do see it a lot. And like we were talking about injuries, running backs go down a lot. So, who's the handcuff to maybe the starter? Because a lot of times that person's a diamond. So you really got to pay attention to some of this running back stuff. And a lot of times these rookies, depending on where they're in the roster, are they the starter? Are they the hand? So it's worth a bench stash a lot of times. Just stick them there because all of a sudden next week they're starting and everybody's like, oh my God, I want, and that's where trades can come in really handy too. These bench stashes.
Great advice. Advice.
So another name popping up here, is Jaden Blue, Dallas running back, another rookie. And, Dallas is a team that needs a lot of offensive help because, and they, listen, I'm a Giants fan. I can't stand Dallas. I'm happy to see Dallas lose every single year. But from fantasy perspective, right, Dak's not been great, consistent. He's been hurt, not looking great. Cowboys always seem like a mess.
Yeah. They they struggled last year. I think this year may be better, and I'm interested in seeing what this rookie has to offer because from what we hear out of the preseason and camp and whatnot. Javonte Williams, which was the addition that Dallas made this year for running back, doesn't sound like he's got that on lockdown. I don't think that that the feedback that we've heard so far on Javonte indicates that he's the for sure locked in running back starter. So Blue may very well have a really, really great opportunity to take over that role really early in the season, and he's going to go super late in drafts.
Yeah.
He's not one of the top high rookie prospects, so he's definitely going to fly under the radar for many.
Yeah.
So that's a great actually sleeper pick in my opinion.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna do one more here because there's a list, and you guys can put this in the ChatGPT and you'll see what you got. I'll do one more here for running back, and then we'll move on to some other positions. But another rookie, San Francisco running back Isaac Guerendo. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Guerendo, yeah, he was. I think he was the rookie last season.
Okay.
And he had a really good season when he had a chance to play, not many because he was playing behind Christian McCaffrey,
Mm-hmm.
but I think these are all great options on teams where there's uncertainty in that starting running back. And as I hear myself saying this about Christian McCaffrey, it's hard to believe that that's what we would think of CMC,
Right.
but
I
his
know.
health has been such an uncertain thing that you can't just bank on for sure.
Yeah.
That absolutely, yeah, the player coming behind him will have extreme value should CMC go down, which unfortunately has happened more times in recent years than we would like to have
I
seen.
mean, CMC, obviously an elite player, but cannot be trusted. At
A
least,
league winner,
yeah, elite. I mean, cannot be trusted to do a full season.
right,
You
right, a
just
league
can't.
winner, but I
Yeah,
think that because of the value that he has in drafts, he's also a pick that could cost you a lot.
really. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you don't, you start him. Is he going to finish the game? Then you lose out on all those points like that. So, I mean, anybody who's drafting CMC out there, God, make sure you get the handcuffs, whoever,
Yes.
you know, just draft the 2 and 3 from San Fran. You might as well just stash them on your bench because it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It will happen. It's inevitable, like Thanos.
You never know. You never know. But good luck to all you CMC owners,
Yeah,
managers, because that's a difficult one. I think it's still worth taking a chance on him,
for
depending on
sure.
who else is out there. But
But you
it's
got to know
that's
it
so hard.
comes with terms and conditions.
Yes,
It's a disclaimer. Yeah.
absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right. So let's move into some other picks here that once again put in a chat GPT and it crawled the internet and gave me some stuff. So this is some late round deep sleepers under this category is what it's saying here. So Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from the Texans, saying here draft him as late as round 12, listed as a starter early, playing opposite Nico Collins in the thin receiving corps.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, the rookies this year. I think this year's rookie class is actually very very good,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very interested in watching several of the rookies. So with Houston, they actually took two rookie wide receivers, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the name of the other kid. Jalen Noel is the other rookie that they
Right.
drafted this year. So Jaden Higgins is definitely the maybe the higher profile of
Mm-hmm.
the two rookie picks that they made. It's on the depth chart right now, slated to go opposite of Nico Collins, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But he is a rookie. He still needs to prove it out there. And there's another rookie that they took. I mean, when a team drafts two rookie wide receivers so early in the NFL draft, that's an indicator of that maybe they weren't so sure
Right.
about that first pick, or maybe they just wanted to add a lot of depth into that wide receiver room, and they had the draft capital to do it. So
Yeah.
that's why they did it. I definitely would take a chance on Higgins because I think one of those rookie wide receivers will prove to be extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because they're rookies, though, I don't know, how I feel uh, about calling the shot for sure that Higgins will be the guy. But the
Yeah.
opportunity is there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, definitely, this is the stuff I always look at too. I'm like, I love. I mean, everybody loves drafting that deep sleeper, but I love loading up on guys like this and like just letting them be, and maybe maybe I'll slot him in on depending on a week or something like that. It's like all of a sudden you're rolling like three awesome wide receivers, and it's kind of cool. All right, so here's another name that's coming up here. Kyle Williams for the Patriots, wide receiver. Saying huge college production and versatile late round flyer, round 15 plus. That's it. They're calling Kyle Williams
Kyle Williams. All right,
of
so
the Patriots, wide receiver of the Patriots. They're calling late round deep sleeper.
this sounds deep. This definitely sounds
Yeah,
deep.
it's been picked on. Actually, coming off of NFL.com recommending this
Okay.
as a deep slot. I mean, interesting to see where he lands. I mean, I know there's a little. There seems to be a little hype about Drake May this season.
I think so. Yeah, my expectation too would be that he takes a step forward and that we see a little bit more out of New England and their offense as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted a fantastic running back that I'm very very excited to see. But in terms of just to to stay on the wide receiver room, Kyle Williams. It'll be very interesting. I don't necessarily have him on my radar as one
Yeah.
of my top priorities, but certainly a guy that we should all be keeping an eye on.
Not
And
on
if
my
you have a
radar, but it's interesting that he came up as as a pick on here. So hey, it's
absolutely
worth the discussion.
and worth a stash if you have an extra roster spot there and you're not sure who to pick up.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt to make a bet on a quarterback like Drake May, who I think is
I
set
mean,
up to take a step forward this year. That's
I
my
mean,
opinion.
listen, you got to figure that the Patriots can only at this point. I mean, after the last few seasons they had, I mean, they invested in Drake May. He's starting to show signs of being the quarterback that everybody knows he can be. Um, get some good weapons around him and a good line, which the Patriots have. I mean, you can see it happening. You can see it happening. Now, does it continue on? I guess we'll see. And obviously injuries and all that stuff always plays a big. But it'll be, can the Patriots be back in that AFC mix, man? Can they be a team, the team to beat again? Be
That's a
interesting.
tall order,
It's a
but
tall order, but hey,
it'd be fun to see them, get into the fight there
get
and
back up there.
yeah, give the
Yeah.
Bills a little bit of a challenge.
So I know we're starting to run low on time, so I'm gonna throw out. I'm gonna see if we can get to two more names here before we wrap it up. But I know everybody's all hyped on tight ends. It's been for a long time. Sometimes you see people draft a tight end in like round 4, and I'm like, wow, round 3. I'm like, why are you taking tight ends? So anyway, here's a name, and I've heard this one thrown around a lot on fantasy radio, other shows. Brenton Strange, tight end for the Jaguars. Evan Ingram's gone, which I know is everybody's sort of like everybody's kind of picking up Ingram. I mean, I've picked up Ingram on and off, and but he has a potential of sneaking in there, man. He could be tight end 1.
I like it. I like that. I definitely like that pick. I remember Strange coming up last season in a game or two where
Yes.
Ingram was out.
Yep.
And he was actually great. He
was great. I mean, he was like, wow, a breath of fresh air for that offense.
Yeah, he had. I know that the tight end position is always one that's maybe a little lower in priority than other skill positions, but still, Brenton Strange came in as a top tight end, as a tight end 1 on the week several times last year. So now that he is slated to be the starter, I definitely would consider him as one of the better options in the draft for this 2025 season.
All right. Very good, man. I like that. So one more name we're gonna throw here, and then we'll get to the end. But this is a name also being thrown around a bit. Another tight end, since everybody loves tight ends so much. Colston Loveland, tight end for Chicago, being called a potential high ceiling tight end sleeper.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the higher profile rookie tight ends this year, and he's a rookie, so it's hard to say how much we're going to see out of him this year. I mean, he might just fizzle out, and he might not be that big of a deal, but he definitely is a high profile name. There's been a lot of talk. I think the Bears took him in round 1, so he's for sure one of those names that when looking for a tight end, once you pass those first few tight ends that seem to be more important in fantasy football because they've been more proven in previous seasons, this guy is definitely a great player to make a bet on, because you're going to get him a little bit later in drafts, and he might just come out and be extremely dominant.
Right, which is what you always want in these sleeper picks, and that's why it's worth, guys. If you get into, especially when you get to the very, very end, right? And it's just like, you're almost like, I would go on auto pick because whatever. But I'm telling you, this is the chance. When you see guys like this laying around, don't go on auto pick. Pick them up. Pick them up, or at least stash them in your your queue. So when you are on auto pick, it just will put them in, because these are the guys that just throw them on your bench and keep them there because you just don't know. So instead of going on auto pick and grabbing another beer to, something to eat, these could be the guys, and listen, these are just some, right? This is just a few we're talking about. They're out there. So, it's worth making a list, putting them in your queue, and seeing if they're available. The worst thing that can happen is you're going to either drop them at some point because you need to make room, or you're going to use them as trade bait. Or, best scenario, you're going to start them because now they're like producing, or they slipped into now a starting position. So it's really, it's either or, right? I mean, it's something you should just do. Just do it.
I think
You
it's.
can't lose.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to throw them at the end of that roster, or maybe even go for a late tight end pick and just make him your starter.
Why not? Why not? Crazier things have happened. Remember, guys, we had two, six seed teams win the championship here. So, like, just because you're sitting pretty at 12-2 or 13-1 or in your league does not mean you're winning at all.
No,
does
anything
not.
can happen.
Anything can happen. So don't get cocky. Don't get cocky at all. But hey, listen, lots of excitement for the upcoming season here. I know, like, once again, we're pumped here in our two leagues to get going and be hanging out with you guys here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Radio Garden State, where you can listen to us on RadioGardenState.com, the Odyssey app, TuneIn app, Radio.net. Those are all the places you can listen to Radio Garden State. And then also, too, we do stream this out live, video-wise, over on Facebook and YouTube as well. Radio Garden State's Facebook page, we're over there, so you can check us out over there. Maybe we'll be creating a social account. I don't know. This whole thing started off as Pablo and I just broadcasting into the groups for our leagues on Facebook, and has now evolved into a full-blown, like, show. So it was like turned out to just be a goofy thing that we're doing. All of a sudden now we're like doing an actual fantasy football show here on Radio Garden State. So but this is fun, and we are looking forward to it. First show back, man. This is great.
It's fantastic. Thank you for everybody who's following out there. Next week we'll be on, Chris and I will be on live. The Touchdown Talk will be here at 10, right before he and I join the rest of our LOEMP league mates for our draft. And we're going to get together, like we mentioned earlier, to do that draft. I highly recommend, all leagues out there, find a way, if you can, to get together in person and do a draft. It's so much fun.
Oh my gosh, it's the best.
By far my favorite way to go. If anyone out there has any other draft options or any other preferences and any other customs that they have for their drafts, please feel free to share. We'd love to hear about it next week as we get ready to draft our LOEMP league ourselves.
Yeah, we'd love to know what your draft rituals are or traditions. That'd be great. I know, we hear so many stories, and we always talk about, we have a giant text group and all that, and everybody's constantly throwing ideas, and yeah, a lot of these would be great, but hey, in reality, everybody's got lives, everybody got families, and so sometimes it's hard to go do like that really, really fun big destination thing. But one can dream for sure. So
one day, maybe.
Yeah, one day. So hey, listen, for all you champs out there, everybody that won your league last year, congrats. It's a whole new season. So hold on. Clutch that championship tight, because you may not see it again for a while, or hey, maybe you'll be lucky enough to repeat. You never know. We've definitely had repeats in our leagues over the years, so maybe you'll be one of the lucky few. And just because you were champ doesn't mean you're not going to be last place this year. So also be wary of that. And we'd also love to know, what are some of your last place rituals too? What are your punishments for last place? We're still working on one for LOEMP. So
we are. Yeah, we have a third trophy for the Dirt League, but we need something for the LOEMP League. But that's a lot of fun. It's part of the game. Everybody out there, go have fun, enjoy, share your thoughts and ideas with us. We'd love to hear it. And good luck with your drafts for this upcoming season.
Yep, absolutely. All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening. Keep it tuned here to Radio Garden State all day long. All kinds of great shows and music for you all the time, 24/7. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, so that way you get notified when we go live, which is every Saturday from now to the end of fantasy football season, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on Radio Garden State. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.